this thing on? Because it's getting ready to be on.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bell Ringer. My name is Greg. Your guest name today, Margot Schoenborn. She is the CEO of OmniSeek, which is a really cool company on the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus. They are a part of our region's growing biotech sector and really changing the way that cancer is diagnosed. Super interesting company and episode. I really think you guys are going to enjoy it, and thank you so much to Margot for all of her time. Rate us on iTunes if you get the chance, and I think that's it. Thank you. So for those that don't know, what is OmniSeek?
OmniSeek is a clinical laboratory. We perform molecular diagnostic testing. We're located on the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus, and we perform what's referred to as genomic and immune profiling testing on late-stage cancer patients to help their oncologists determine which therapeutic selection or which drug is the best drug for their patient.
Right. And so you're changing the way that oncologists can make decisions on treatment, basically. Yes. For the non-science person, and I'm including myself in that, just try and explain it or distill it so that people can kind of get a grasp of what you do.
Sure. The type of testing that we perform is referred to as next generation sequencing of people's DNA and RNA that is taken from their solid tumor tissue from their cancer. So as a result of a biopsy, let's say, that's taken, or if someone has surgery to remove a tumor, our testing can be performed on solid tissue that's taken from a patient, and your cancer actually causes genetic mutations to your DNA and RNA strand. So what our testing does is looks at that and looks at damage that's caused, or genomic variations, mutations, fusions, translocations, to see what damage has been done to the DNA strand resulting from the cancer. And certain genomic variations or mutations to your DNA, to particular genes, are associated with response to particular drug therapies. So if a patient has a particular mutation to a gene, so let's say a patient has a lung cancer patient has a mutation to their ALK gene, that is associated with response to particular drugs. So that's how we're able to guide oncologists in determining then which drug they should select for their patient and the likelihood of response. It really is the very essence of precision medicine.
Right. And there's a component, at least on the patient's end, of saving time for them in the diagnosing or maybe not diagnosing, but prescription of which I'm going to butcher the language, but of which path to take. I watched your Empire State development video that you guys did, and it was talking about you test for drug A, and then you have to go back and test for drug B, and then drug C, and by the time you get to D, there's no more DNA to sample from. So you're able to test on that DNA for multiple drugs at the same time?
For multiple gene markers.
Markers at the same time.
Right. Exactly right. So this type of next generation sequencing allows us to test very large gene panels or numbers of genes versus what traditionally was referred to as single analyte testing, which is single gene testing. So a clinician, even 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago really, would send a specimen out, have a single gene tested. If that came back negative, they would then move to the next gene. If that came back negative, they would then move to the next test. And it's really a very inefficient use of tumor tissue to perform testing that way. And it also can result in treatment delays because it takes time for several single tests to be performed versus knowing all the answers up front, having a large gene panel run, and having all of those markers included in that gene panel to help drive then that therapeutic selection.
So that's OmniSeek's story. Tell us a little bit about your story and how you've gotten to this role leading the company.
Sure. I'm a
Everyone,
Buffalo.
Everyone's always afraid to talk about themselves.
Yeah. I'm a Buffalo native. Grew up here and went to school in Rochester, as we were talking about earlier. Went to law school at University of Buffalo, and then moved to New York City and was practicing down in New York, both in private practice for Nixon Peabody, a big international law firm, and then joined the Department of Justice and was working at the U.S. Attorney's Office. And my husband actually had a job opportunity back in Buffalo, so we moved back to Buffalo in 2007. Like many expats, we came back and raised our family here. So it's been a nice thing for us. I was part of the legal team at Roswell Park Cancer Institute. I was serving as deputy general counsel there when Roswell decided to spin OmniSeek out. Right. And at that time, there had been a particular small gene panel test for non-small cell lung cancer called OmniSeek Target that had been developed in Roswell's Center for Personalized Medicine. And it had enormous success. And Roswell Park's board of directors and Candace Johnson, their CEO, really had the vision to ensure that testing could be expanded outside of Roswell Park, and that both patients and clinicians outside of Roswell Park would have access to the testing and that technology. And we launched OmniSeek in 2015, right. And that was kind of the start of the company. So I joined the company when it started as its general counsel and senior vice president, and after we had a CEO join our team, I was promoted into a chief administrative officer role, and I've had control over the administrative functions for some time. And then we just closed our Series B funding in April of this past year, and the board asked me to move into the CEO role. So it's an amazing opportunity. Right, yeah. I'm super thrilled to have it, the professional opportunity, but also to lead such a talented and dedicated group of employees. We have about 50 employees now, and every single employee that we have is very passionate about ensuring that we deliver these precision medicine options to patients, and really feels very passionately. Everybody has some connection to cancer and knows someone that has had cancer. And I would just say that it's really, I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity to lead this amazing group of people, because they just are so dedicated to ensuring that we deliver the best product, the best options to patients. All right,
that's great. And you guys are doing great work.
Thanks.
So you said the company started in 2015 and you're already at 50 employees. Yes. Take us through kind of that path. Like, was there a point where it really jumped in growth and you guys sped up? Because I know you guys have moved quite quickly.
Yeah, it's been great to be able to grow the company in the last 4 years to get us to 50 people. We were able to source amazing talent in Buffalo. Many of our clinical lab team and R&D team are former employees of Roswell Park Cancer Institute. And we have also been very successful in recruiting talent from out of town, in part because of the nice renaissance that Buffalo has had, which has made Buffalo a really attractive place for people to live and work and raise a family.
Right. Do you have any anecdotes of someone that moved from elsewhere, like a nice story that comes to mind?
We have had a lot of employees join us from out of town, actually.
Yeah. I asked because last week we launched our talent attraction brand, Be in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of top of mind for us, obviously, and top of mind for the whole community. But I think it is those like personal stories that tell Buffalo's story the best.
Mm-hmm. We've had at least 2 employees that come to top of mind who were in situations where they were living in larger markets in DC and New York City metro area, and really were and had young children, and were really struggling with what to do about school. and the private schools and not having public school options. So I can say that in recruiting talent from out of town, one of the things that has been very attractive to people both is the affordable housing, but also the amazing public schools that we have to offer here.
Right.
And that's been certainly, I think, a tipping factor for some candidates looking at joining us.
Right.
And
you went to law school here, but you relocated as well with your husband. And one of the things we talk about a lot is it's not just attracting the person for that job, but also the spouse that is typically coming with them.
Yeah.
What can you say about Buffalo's renaissance and not just opportunities with OmniSeek, but being part of like a larger ecosystem and community?
Yeah, I think the changes, so I relocated back to Buffalo in end of 2007. And the changes that have occurred since I relocated back to Buffalo are just extraordinary.
Right.
The growth just on the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus during that period of time, the new buildings, the new Oshai Children's Hospital, the move of the medical school to the campus has really, I think, created a really nice ecosystem for us, for health systems, but also for biotech. And that's a nice change for us to have here, and to have biotech opportunities where I think they were much harder to find 10 or 15 years ago is really a wonderful thing, so that when you do have talented people moving back, their spouses are able to find jobs in Buffalo that are attractive, that are high paying for top talent.
Right. Speaking of those like biotech and life sciences advantages, and the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus really exploding over the last 10 years even. As the CEO of a company, what like business advantages do you find operating in Buffalo as opposed to a company like this? Obviously you spun out of Roswell, there's a reason why you're here, but theoretically it could be based in a lot of different cities. Why Buffalo?
Yeah. Well, I can say that we wouldn't be here without Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center, obviously, but having access to researchers on the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus, having access to those core resources, so the research departments at Roswell Park has been really critical to our assay development, our R&D projects. We collaborate with Roswell Park on a lot of projects. And then being based here, it's been really nice for us because we've been able to roll out our new products. We've launched a new product, a new next-gen product every year since the company launched in 2015. And Roswell Park oncologists and community oncologists and those working here in the community have been our early adopters. And they've given us tremendous feedback that has been really helpful in us utilizing to leverage for the next product and to continuously improve what our offering is. So we're extremely grateful to be here and for the close collaboration we have not only with Roswell Park oncologists and researchers, but also within the community.
Right. And you spoke about the talent, not just hiring here locally, but being able to recruit here as well.
Yeah.
How have you found people from outside of the area enjoying the quality of life in Buffalo? Obviously, they're moving, a lot of them, for an opportunity with OmniSeek. A great job, great company, but there are things after 5:30 p.m. after work. What do you hear from people that have moved?
I think everyone is very excited by the development on the waterfront, certainly, and to have Riverworks and Canalside and have those options, and certainly all of the cultural options that we have in Buffalo. They have the Albright Knox Art Gallery here, and to have amazing restaurants. I think in Buffalo we really have wonderful restaurants, and most of us are foodies, and I think that a lot of the feedback I get from people that we've recruited to Buffalo is, wow, I had no idea you had such amazing restaurants in Buffalo, and there's theater, and there are museums, and I think for a mid-sized city, we have so much to offer, and there's such richness here, both culturally, and it's really nice. It's a nice thing to see.
I've interviewed a bunch of people that have relocated here recently for the Be in Buffalo campaign, and every single one mentions the food here and how amazing it is. It's incredible.
It is.
So we touched on Roswell, but OmniSeek isn't just a Roswell spin out. Roswell is, a continuing partner of yours in your growth. Talk a little bit about that partnership and their Center for Personalized Medicine and how you guys coexist.
Yeah. Like I said, we're extremely grateful for the close relationship that we have with Dr. Johnson and her team. And it's been critical to OmniSeek's success, both because they funded our Series A and continue to be a shareholder, but the continuous scientific and clinical support from their team has been really tremendous. And it gives us opportunities to collaborate with them on grants. It gives us opportunities to collaborate with them on translational medicine. And that is where Roswell Park is really strong, is in their translational medicine programs. So we are able to work with them on projects that help patients get the newest drug, the newest therapy. Our clinical reports surface clinical trials for patients and what clinical trials might be appropriate for them. So for patients who don't have a lot of options and don't have on-label drug options based on their genomic profiling and their mutations, clinical trials also give them a wonderful option. So that's in part. We also, in 2017, partnered with LabCorp, and that has been a tremendous opportunity for our company to then leverage their distribution channel and sell our products nationally.
And I'm sure you can't share too much, but based on what you can, what would you say is next for OmniSeek? What can we expect in the community?
We are in the process of working on a new assay, which we hope to be able to launch next summer. And it is a larger gene panel that is both genomic profiling and looks at immune oncology markers as well. And we're going to try to take this particular product through the FDA, which is a new experience for us and for our team. And we have a lot of experience working with the state of New York and the New York Clinical Lab Evaluation Program. But the tests that we've brought up to date have been what's referred to as lab-developed tests. And the current project that we're working on has a goal of actually getting FDA approval, which is really exciting. So we're dedicating a lot of resources to make sure that we have the infrastructure at OmniSeek to support an FDA-approved product. And our team is working fast and furious to make sure that we can validate and bring up this new test, and it will be of the highest quality standards.
Great. Well, thank you so much for everything you guys do in the community and the actual work that you're producing. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Greg.
Before I let you go, we have a couple Blizzard round questions.
Okay.
Hard-hitting, journalistic questions,
Okay.
Putting you on the hot seat.
All right.
If you were a flavor of ice cream, what would you be?
Lake Effect sponge candy.
Great answer. Book or TV show that you'd recommend?
The Crown.
Text or phone call?
Text.
Bills or Sabres?
Bills.
Hiking or skiing?
Hiking.
Last question, most important. Chicken wings, drumstick or flat?
Drumstick.
Good choice.
Good answer?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Greg.
Bell Ringer is a podcast by Invest Buffalo Niagara, the region's privately funded, nonprofit marketing and economic development organization. Please rate this podcast, follow our social media channels, and read our blog at buffaloniagara.org for the best of Buffalo Niagara. Come grow your business with us.